This is Mugdha.
Hi, I'm Avinash.
And welcome to our podcast on embracing the human experience, which we cover through the body, the mind, the emotions, and the soul. And welcome today to episode number 4, where Avinash and I are going to go deep into talking about what really is the purpose of the human mind. So, Avinash, are you ready to get started? Because I know this is like a subject that, you explored even before you met me, even before you came to iThrive. The mind is something that you really were interested in. So, ready to get started?
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. There are lots of thoughts going on in my mind. So just want to get them out before they start corrupting my mind.
What do you think is the purpose of the human mind? Like, why do you think human beings have this thing called as a mind? And what role do you think it plays in the entire experience of being a human itself?
So colloquially speaking, no, I was just telling you, there are thoughts in my mind. So we are supposed to have thoughts in our mind. That is a general perception. All the thoughts get generated in your mind. There's a lot of misconception about mind and brain anyway that you will address in your subsequent talk. But what I have seen, my experiences with mind work that I do on the things that I worked on my mind itself is there is a definite purpose to mind, which is to drive the body, act as an interface between body and the soul.
Okay.
So it is actually a translation machine. What soul wants, it gets translated into certain language, which is conveyed to the body.
That's like you mean by the actual ultimate design of the mind itself,
yes,
right? But
exactly.
On a more day-to-day, everyday human interaction basis, what then do you think is the purpose of it?
So mind allows you to navigate in this world.
Exactly, right?
So it stores memory, it stores that your learning, your experiences. So a lot of things that we learn, like suppose we started learning at the age of say 5, we started learning ABCD. It was so difficult to learn ABCD to begin with. Like even writing an A was a big task. Now you can write sentence, you can talk a lot of things. So subconscious memory has been created by doing those ABCD again and again.
Right.
So the mind is using that subconscious memory. So most of our things that we do, learning or the day-to-day activities like driving, walking, swimming, you don't have to use your conscious mind. That brings us to the idea of mind getting divided into 3 parts.
Correct.
Like one is a conscious mind, which allows you to navigate in this 3D world.
With awareness, right?
With awareness, whatever you're doing with complete mindfulness. Second is a subconscious mind, where all these learnings and experiences and traumas, everything gets stored in that subconscious mind. And then there is unconscious mind, which is already programmed with certain things. I don't know where it comes from, but as soon as you're born, you know that you have to cry to get food, right? You need to sleep.
But that's, I think, the body's intelligence itself, right? Like a large
So body itself is like a secondary mind. It is storing that information based on behalf of the mind itself.
Yeah.
So mind is, I normally give example of a smartphone. So mind is a software and the body is a hardware.
Correct.
So you can't locate software, where is it, in which form it is. It is there in some chip. But within that chip, there is only hardware. You can only see the component.
Right.
You can't see a mind, the software part of it. So software also needs some hardware to store whatever it wants to store.
And to operate itself, to function, right?
Yeah. All these memories, all these thoughts, all these traumas, everything is getting stored in that body. And the mind is only accessing it whenever it is required, based on the trigger that it generates. So coming back to that fundamental question that I started with, a lot of people confuse mind and brain being the same thing. So we talk about brain, mind is here. So I don't know whether it makes sense or not. So what is your take on it?
I'll come to the brain and the mind, but like I just want to add on to everything that you said about the human mind, right? So yes, it stores memories and it is there to help you navigate this world. But beyond that, so I've always been curious about what makes up my own mind, right? Like when I say that, okay, I've made up my mind, I'm not going to do this, or I've made up my mind, I'm going to do this. And my mind now is very different from the mind of the person I was even 5 years ago, right? Like completely dramatically different identity altogether.
Yeah.
And I've always been curious about what makes up my mind, right? Like what are the pieces? And then I realized that like when I was not really so self-aware and when I was really living by consensus society's rules and all of that, my mind was mostly made of the conditioning that was imposed from childhood.
The belief system.
The belief systems that I had acquired, right? So not all belief systems were necessarily imposed. Some of the belief systems I acquired through my friendships, through what I watched, through what I read.
Your interaction, your experiences.
My experiences, the books I read, the movies I watched, right? So some of the belief that the earth is round is basically because I've seen many visuals, images, and all of that. Now, I have not gone and tested gravity or done physics experiments to really come to the conclusion
Yeah.
whether Earth is round or flat. And I don't really give a damn whether it's round or flat.
Yeah.
I am happy existing on it, whether it's round or flat. But certain belief systems have formed like that, right? So the conditioning that was imposed on me, the belief systems that were passed down, as well as the ones I brought into my life, and the memories. So the memories have nothing to do with the conditioning, nothing to
Yeah.
do with the beliefs, right? But the memories that evoked certain emotions in me, right? Like every memory of my daughter actually
Yeah,
brings about
brings out-
happiness
yeah.
and joy. And I keep those memories because they're part of my mind, right? So it's really the conditioning, the belief systems, the memories that I have that makes my mind. Now, the shift in my mind happened because I let go of certain conditioning, I let go of certain belief systems.
So we call that mind cleaning, right?
Yeah,
so
like
we clean your
literally
mind.
like
Literally you
defragmentation and
defragment
reprogramming.
the hard disk, and then you have a lot of space to
Yeah.
bring in the new experience
Exactly.
or the new emotions.
So
or the
that's
new
what I had to do. I had to really go deep in, like, and every time I talk about my mind and my brain, my hand goes to my head. I don't know what NLP programming that is, but I had to literally reconfigure my mind, examine beliefs, and say that is this really serving
So
my
you
purpose?
updated your software basically.
Yeah, I updated. Like I actually did a
Yeah.
software reboot
So
and an
you
update,
reboot
right?
your software, you updated, you
Yeah.
defragmented stuff, you clear the cluttered.
when you speak of the conscious, the unconscious, and the subconscious, right? The conscious is your actual operating system.
that
that's
is a
active.
RAM,
Like,
like
yeah,
what
like
we
that's
do.
your Windows 10. That
Yeah.
your Windows 10 is active, and here is how it's
User
going to
experience
function.
and user
Yeah.
interface.
And then there is whatever the programs that might be running. So
learnings or programs.
this phone and this software is going to run in a certain way, and then there is this like base level programming that's there, that this is like in the subconscious, right? Things, conditioning, belief systems, all of them go and run in the
basic
subconscious.
operating system.
And then there's this entire collective unconscious itself,
Yes.
which is if you have to go back to the phone example, right? So every iPhone 13 would have this baseline information stored deep inside it.
Exactly.
And depending on how often it connects to the internet, it can receive automatic upgrades, right?
Yes.
So that connection is that like deep unconscious collective connection that all of us have with a larger, greater force.
So you always talk about the pineal gland being, or antenna
Yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah.
universal
It is
consciousness.
that.
And if it use too much of fluoride or other toxins, it get calcified.
It is that transmitter, no? It is that basic receiver and transmitter that's there inside our brains to constantly receive these upgrades. Like it's the internet.
So what
Yeah.
you described, that is one of the functions of the mind. It is creating a persona of yours
Yeah.
based on whatever you want
Yeah,
to
so my
experience.
sense of self is held
Sense of
largely.
self
Yeah.
is held by the mind, and you bring in those beliefs, those user experiences, those systems or those experiences, which reinforces that persona. If your mind is creating a persona and you don't agree with that persona, you will do everything in your capacity to destroy it
Destroy
or
that.
create another
Yeah.
one or change it dramatically. But fundamentally, we are all equipped to do that. But most of us, we don't do.
And that is really what is the crux of it, right? That we have this ability to go auto-update our software and to go change the programs. People don't know this. People
so
think
people
like,
believe they've been brought up in certain way.
It is what
with
it
the
is,
belief
this is what
system.
it
I
is,
am a
yeah.
vegetarian, so I can't change my mind.
yeah.
And you have the evidence in front of you. Okay, being vegetarian, you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
Still, you can't change your
Change
mind.
Because
So,
this is your
you-
belief system and this is your program.
How,
So I also think it's your mind kind of, so one is of course it gives you a sense of self, like who are you, and it helps you navigate this world through that sense of self, like this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do. And I think it also is, like in my own personal case, my mind is very, very focused on keeping me safe.
yeah.
It always is on the lookout for experiences, situations, people that might threaten my existence itself. I don't know if everyone's mind does that. I do
I think
have
it's
a
a
degree
basic
of.
instinct. Whenever you're born, even when you're
But
born,
I don't
you
know
had
if
that.
everyone, like, I've not seen this. Like, a lot of people don't
So
have
the
the
basic-
self-preservation instinct. I don't know what it is, right?
They don't have the self-nurturing instinct, but the self-preservation, whatever they think, okay, eating seed oils make me safe. That is their belief system. They're reinforcing that. We know eating seed oil is going to harm you. So we believe why they're doing it. Like I was smoking for 25 years. I knew cigarette is harming me. but I had that belief, okay, it won't harm me. It might harm other
Oh,
people.
really?
Yeah.
You thought
You
that?
thought it is not going to harm me because I'm such a great person. Like everyone
No
likes
way.
me. Yeah.
I
So
didn't.
that is how you create your mind personalities, whereby you accept or normalize all your self-harming behavior, whether it is staying in a relationship, whether it is chasing money, whether it is creating toxic pattern or being in a toxic environment. You normalize those things. Everyone is doing it, so no harm can cause to you. Like you have seen everywhere people, because you're working on your subconscious or working on your unconscious, rebooting that thing, creating new patterns of whatever you want yourself to be. It's highly energy intensive work, and if
It
there
is.
is
That is
no
true.
support system around you, if you
This
don't
is
have a
what
clear,
sucks. Yeah.
there is no clear guideline, there is no clear guidance to how do you do that, you're more likely to end up in another mess rather than clearing your own mess of whatever you have created of your mind. So everyone talks about mind, everyone talks about they whatever they are doing in their belief system, in their mind space, it is the right way for self preservation. It may not, when you look at it objectively, it may not be. So that is where you have to come out of your own mind or your own body, look at yourself as a third person and see
And I
whether
think
it makes
that's
sense or
that
not.
entire observer practice, right? Which is what meditation also is about, or which is what being present in the moment, like
So
Ramdas
even
spoke about.
therapy does the same thing. Na? You're actually looking at a mirror. Whether you're
A good therapist
a
does that.
good therapist will only provide you a mirror, saying that okay, this is how you look, this is how you are. No mirror is going to camouflage unless they are engineered mirrors. So otherwise, the mirror is going to show you what
The
exactly
truth about
the
you.
truth about you. That's why a lot of people don't like being alone. I mean, that's such a thing that they can't look at their own reflection. When you are alone, you are going to reflect. Your
You got
thoughts
to,
are going to
yeah,
reflect
I
onto
know.
yourself. Your mind is going to tell you, okay, this is how you are, and you suck. Work on it. Upgrade
Yeah,
yourself.
and
Do
I think
something.
that's a very interesting thing that you said, that your mind is going to tell you you suck. Um, and I think all of us are programmed with this one process that's always critical of the areas that we really suck in. I don't know if it's inherently part of the human mind's design to push each consciousness towards evolution, towards growth, right? But there is an inner critic in everyone's head.
Yes.
There is one. And instead of trying to suppress it, instead of trying to avoid it, instead of trying to do these positive affirmations and not listening to your inner critic's voice, because I think that's the voice of your conscience. If you learn to listen to that inner critic with love, and you give it the respect that it deserves to a degree, you will soon start learning that that truly is the voice of your conscience. Your conscience is telling you this is what you're capable of, this is why you're here, these are all the different ways you're fucking up your life in right now. Like, what the hell are you doing? Do something about it, right? I honestly think that's what the conscience is there to kind of push you to grow and evolve. And you hear this, like most people, see, you and I are people who listened to it and did whatever way. Maybe at that time I was like an elephant in a china shop and I broke too many things while trying to escape. But we listened to that voice and we found a way out of that fucked up life that we were living in, right? But for a lot of people, that voice is so hard to hear. The truth is so, like their own inner truth is so hard to hear that they'll go look for alcohol. They'll
All
go
kinds of distraction. Even the
Netflix.
good things. Like we have noticed a lot of, my runner friends or the people I know who are into gymming or who follow certain kind of passion. So what I have observed is it's a kind of distraction for something which they don't want to face. And this is like, why don't you do it? Like, why don't you face? Even I was running away from something. I didn't want to face those things. When I started looking at myself more critically, then
Your
I
desire
realized
to run
itself is some kind of distraction. Although it comes under a healthy habit, but it's better than smoking. But it can be more dangerous than smoking. Like you can kill yourself in that process.
Yeah, we've seen like people who die in marathons also, and then people who end up with injuries, and then like their body is telling them don't do this, and they still push their body, and then they get injured more and more and more, and it gets worse. And if they can't do that activity, without that activity, then there's no distraction, and like inside their minds, it's like really their own personal hell, right? So the human mind is this amazing thing, okay, and like he said at the very beginning, I was going to come towards that in the end, but if you understand the design of your mind, it's basically an operating system given to you so that your soul that is inside your body can fulfill its purpose on this planet. Okay, like my purpose on this planet, in not only in this lifetime, in many past lifetimes, has been to bring about healing, whether it was animals, whether it was plants, whether it was other humans, right? Like that's the core design of my soul. I create healing wherever I go. My soul resides in this body, so through this body in this lifetime I do that work. Now for 38 years, not 38 years, like the first 7-8 years, honestly I was very much true to my soul. I was living in this small tiny village in Whitefield.
When Whitefield was a village.
When Whitefield was a village, and there were all trees and puppies and kittens and birds and all sorts of animals and dogs, and like my childhood photo, there's not a single photo without a dog in the picture, okay? And these were not like owned dogs, these are stray dogs that would just hang out with me all the time. But anyway, so for about 8-9 years of my life, the first years of my life, I was very true to my soul design. I wouldn't really even hang out with too many humans, right? I'd be on trees, I'd be playing with rocks, I'd be in mud and in water and just with animals, and like, you know, I'd be giving injections to plants and stuff like that. So I did that and I was very happy like that as a child. It was only when I had to interact with society, right, like relatives and family, then I would get really cranky and I would be like, I don't want to do this stuff anymore. But as I grew, then more and more conditioning started coming on me, right? So school, teachers, authority figures, then we moved towns, and then like from that village I came to a city, and then the city kids were like some different organism altogether. And I couldn't even understand I couldn't understand the language, I couldn't understand the things that they would do. And then I wanted to belong, right? Like wanting to belong is one primal human need. So I started doing things like city kids, and then we moved to Bombay, and then I had to fit in even more. And then I was traveling by local trains long distance, and then like, of course, all this conditioning around getting married and all of that started happening. So I went further and further away from my soul's design, which is to be really in nature with plants, animals, and help humans who come to me for healing. The further I went away, the more I started feeling messed up internally, to this point in 2016 when I was depressed and suicidal and everything. I've spoken about it in the past also. So the more my mind got conditioned into society's ideal mind, because like I said, I was checking off all the boxes. All those good, correct boxes were like tick marked. So that mind was like, this is a great contributor to society.
It makes you believe.
It made me believe. I was like, I'm living by all the rules. But the more my mind was operating there, the further away it was getting from my soul's purpose. The further I was getting from my soul's purpose, the more I wanted to destroy and break down myself. So an autoimmune condition happened, abuse with food happened, body started breaking down, illness started happening, right? And as I started coming closer, my mind, as it started, like I started reprogramming, changing, bringing it closer and closer to my soul's purpose. My body also immediately started aligning. So now, it's not like I don't get sick, right? Or it's not like I don't have episodes where I feel low or low on energy, or mentally also I'm like, but it's more in response to the environment. Like today's the new moon, for example, and I'm a little jittery, like literally jittery energy, okay? My spoons from my hand.
This particular aspect I can't actually relate to, let me be very honest with you. Yeah, how can people be just, along with the moon?
I just literally flow with the energy of the environment now, and that's okay. That's very true to my design also. Yeah. So I'm not out of alignment with that. But I have seen that as my mind came closer to what my soul's design was, everything in my life started flowing really smoothly.
Yeah.
So I think the human mind is incredible in its plasticity and its ability.
So you mentioned about your childhood memories. No? Yeah. I was lost. Like most of the time I would just fall down on the road. I will forget things.
That is so
I used to get...
How would you just fall down on the road?
I'll just fall down. Like I have this mark on my feet.
How can
I have
just
repeatedly fallen and injured that particular point on my shin. that it has become a like permanent mark on my shin. Like I used to just
We
fall
all
down.
have those kind of
So you
words,
just walk and suddenly you're, and it happened, I mean, quite late in my school days. It's not like when I was a toddler, this thing happened. I was mostly lost in this world. I used to read boards, name boards, plates,
figure out
what
where
is
you
that, just figure out, key, okay, what this world is all about. And the exposure was limited. There was no internet. So the only way to understand, you remember once I told you, this, in my mind, the spelling of mutton was MTN. And now I go back and look at every scooter with a number like MTN 1 through 3, 4. I used to pronounce it as mutton. Okay. So my mind was figuring out. My exposure was limited, and there are.
Chicken would be CKN.
There was no exposure to chicken. I knew only mutton in the childhood. So I don't. I mean,
It's
I
like
don't
a
know.
stock market code, MTN.
So most of the time I used to be lost. Even in my class, I am lost. Like I never used to understand what is being taught. I was a very miserable, just above average student. So a lot of learning came from the experiences, the people I met, the things I did in my life. And at some point, I think that tipping point happened when the societal construct just took over that lost mind and said you have to behave in a certain way, you have to talk in a certain way, you have to act in a certain way.
Otherwise,
And
you are. I remember.
otherwise you are like out of the main channel, like mainstream. And I think that tipping point was actually counterproductive to my rest of my life till the time I rediscover myself again. So almost like 20 years I was following whatever God's design was for me. Next 20 years I was following what society wanted me to do.
But 20
And
years
then
is still good, like the first 20 years. if
last
you had,
8 years I'm doing, and again I'm struggling and I'm getting lost and finding myself again. And all this is a journey, and these are the experiences that I'm creating for myself, and I just want to share those experiences with everyone in whatever way possible. That is where the opportunity to work on the mind wellness came, and I thought maybe I can make a difference, and it is helping a lot of people going around. So you did not address that fundamental question. A lot of people have this confusion in their mind, whether brain is mind or mind is brain, or whether mind resides in your brain. I don't know how does it. There is a gut brain and there is
So
the mind all across the
so
body.
See, the mind in its entirety is your sense of self, your operating system, how you're navigating around the world, and it has stored a lot of things: conditioning, belief system, memories, experiences, all of that. Now, how does it receive this information? At the first and the most obvious level, the tangible level, is through your sense organs.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and that's where the brain is big time involved, because you're seeing something like visual input is coming in, and then it's going through all your optic nerves and all of that. It's quickly going to your brain. Your brain is making sense of like this is purple, for example, right? How is my brain making that information?
Sorry, what is that book?
I'll tell you what the book is. Wait, let me I don't want to lose this train of thought. Given today's energy, I'll just talk about something else. So, one is sensory organs. Eyes are giving you input, your ears are giving you information,
even your
touch,
skin,
even like the temperature and like pressure and all of that, you're receiving the sensory input all the time, 24/7 through your sense organs, which is getting processed in your brain. And then your brain is simultaneously processing this information and making sense of it. And it's storing it, right? Now where, like right now, our safety is not threatened because it's not too cold, it's not too hot, there's no fire burning here, there's no bear attacking us, nothing. So
to be honest, I'm sweating right now. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, let's find a way to make that not happen next time. But like, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
like it's a safe environment. So my mind is using all of this environmental information to say that, okay, like right now you're safe, chill, speak whatever is like you want to say, right? I'm going to give you information kind
whatever is on your mind.
Yeah, whatever is like you're asking me to say, I'm going to help you say that kind of a thing, right? So one is the brain is involved in this processing of sensory information on a real-time basis. The second place the brain is involved is also in terms of storage and retrieval. Like it really is there in terms of your neural pathways, right? So this is not just energetically stored somewhere. Inside your brain, there are areas where memory is stored, information is stored. There are neural networks that are created around certain. Like driving is a memory pathway that's created in your brain, right? You're not born with driving skills. You do it enough number of times, there are enough neural pathways built around that, and that becomes a subconscious skill itself. So that also is there in the brain, which is not real-time information, but past behavior
part of
stored
this.
in the brain.
Yeah.
So the brain is literally processing and holding and storing and retrieving. So it's not just storing, it's also retrieving. Like these words that I'm using are words that I've learned some time ago, but I want to express something and the brain is quickly picking words from different parts, making it into a sentence and bringing it out. So that's the brain's job. The brain is not the mind, right? Because while this brain, the cerebellum, this brain is doing all of this, you also have the gut-brain axis, which you spoke about, which is information that's coming from food, information that's coming from the microbes in your gut, information that's coming in again from survival-based instincts and all of that. That is simultaneously doing the same thing. It has stored information. If you eat a food you're allergic to, for example, your gut-brain axis is going to get activated there. So that is there. Then you have your body mind, okay, which is a separate mind altogether. So like you said, a child knows that it has to cry for food, right? Or like your body knows that to remain alive, the heart has to beat. That intelligence is there in the heart. So there is a body mind which is beyond your conscious awareness. So the body is operating on that. And often we see people who are on life support systems and all in hospitals, their consciousness is gone a long time ago, right?
So coming back to that self-preservation wala thing, like people know that they're doing something, like I was a smoker or a drinker for a long time. I knew it all along. It is harming my body in some way. People still engage into that self-destructive behavior. So where does that come from? Like you can't, you're not able to make sense of it, or I don't know where it is coming from, because that addiction is becoming a challenge for a lot of people.
So it's multiple things, Avinash.
Is it only body or
no? So see, like purely
it's a chemical addiction. Your brain is getting some dopamine.
I think there's a degree of like self-soothing also that happens with these addictions, right? So we can just call it like a chemical dependence. For example, if it is nicotine, a lot of people say that nicotine is the most difficult thing to get de-addicted from because your body has a chemical memory for it.
I disagree. Sugar is the most difficult.
It's sugar. Even sugar you can change, right? But I saw you quit cigarettes in one day.
Yeah.
Right? If nicotine was really that difficult to let go of, you would have needed nicotine patches and so much work to but one day you were smoking, the next day you stopped smoking because of whatever work we did. And there is a degree of soothing that happens with any addictions, right? Sugar, I'm going to talk to you. I was going to go talk about sugar today in my life, but I didn't really have the time this morning, also today's.
So the body is processing lots of stuff which is being given, like it creates neurons,
it creates neural pathways, and addictions often are, like I said, soothing mechanisms to deal with some kind of either trauma from the past, and you've learned that this thing comforts me when I'm feeling triggered again by the same set of environmental triggers, or it's become something that you use as a numbing mechanism, right? So you don't want to feel at all, and then this particular habit, this particular substance stops the processing of feeling in that moment, and that's why you go back to your addictions, right?
So people are addicted to these kind of substances, but there is different kind of addiction which is even imposed by the society itself. The religious addiction, the addiction with respect to ideologies or the political affiliations, or this left, right, center kind of thing. So people can't get rid of that kind of. Is it because of this identity gives them some kind of validation, or there is that theory you talked about that we need to belong somewhere, we need to be part of the group or the larger community or the largest community for that matter?
So it's both things that you spoke of, right? One is your sense of self is derived from these external factors, because let's say your sense of self was, I am a Hindu who is a Ram Bhakt and I will wear orange clothes. I just defined an entire category of people in India, but okay, I did just cave.
In fact, I wanted to be like that. Right? I am going to be a Ram Bhakt soon.
Right. All right, Avinash. We'll wait and see that for that. Like we'll wait for that day to happen. But because you don't have anything else.
Yeah.
I call myself a healer. Suppose I had no one signing up for my work. Suppose no one said, like, if everyone told me, no, you're not. Like, if I had told myself I'm a CA. And I'd gone and told people, मैं CA हूँ, मेरे को ले लो. There would have been no sense of
I
self.
got a job application today, no qualification, no experience. मेरे को ले लो, I will do anything.
Anything, right?
I said, okay, I'll think about it.
So people often don't have a grounded sense of self. They don't know what they're there for, right? So they take these things from society that, oh, I can be a Hindu, I can be this, I can be that, and then they make their self that. If I'm alive,
They start
if I'm
believing-
alive, I'm these things. Now, if you tell them, no, drop this. Religion bakwas hai, it is someone hacking spirituality to kind of siphon your energy. If you tell someone that, they'll have to give that identity of Hindu away. Then they have a huge void. They don't know what they are now.
Exactly.
So that
So
becomes
this
threatening.
identity, anyway, I worked with a lot of mind
Yeah.
wala things.
But I want to finish.
Okay.
So one is that identity of self gets threatened. Second is the belongingness. So because of that being a Hindu, because of wearing orange clothes, they get to belong to a certain larger segment of people who are doing the same thing. Now, if they withdraw from that, where do they go? Because humans are inherently wired to belong to communities. Like in the past, as ancestors, like as hunter-gatherers, if you were alone, your chance of survival was very, very low.
Yeah.
But if you were part of a tribe, your chance of survival went up exponentially.
Yes.
So that desire to belong, that desire to be part of something bigger, that desire to collectively matter together for something is also driving a lot of people's identity choices.
Yes.
Now I'm done. What
Yeah. So a lot of identities, like I always give this example, when we were conceived, we were just a drop of consciousness. There was nothing else.
Maybe the DNA identity was there, but Avinash.
Then we started, assuming all these identities.
Yeah.
Like DNA identity is something which I would call it unconscious mind ka programming, which is
But
already
that's maybe
there.
the body mind. Like, see,
It's already
I have
there.
warrior
Like,
genes.
you don't do
Yeah.
anything.
Huh.
All these other identities you acquire.
Right.
You become male, female, gender.
Right.
You are daughter, son to someone. You are religion or nationality or whatever. Then you go to
Still
school.
laughing about empty and mutton.
Yeah. So when you go to school, then you are either intelligent or you're not intelligent. That is another identity. You suffer from some sickness. That is another identity. So we have seen a lot of people. No, they don't let go of their
They
diseases
can't
because it
heal
is their
because
label.
like everything is around that disease, and then if that disease goes off, who are they? Right?
Yeah.
They have no identity left at all. So yeah, we've
So we have
seen that.
seen all that. So what are things that happens if your mind is not functioning optimally? If it is not there, I mean, if it is not doing what it is supposed to do. So what all at 3D level, what do we see? What kind of dysfunction can we experience?
So many things, na? Because like I call this. So you are asking me what this book is, right? So I'll
Yes.
tell you. So this, me and Adish, we were putting this together because this thing we are doing, right, like around embracing the human experience, it's something that you and I understand. What does it mean to embrace the human experience? But if you want to talk to somebody else about it, I don't know how many podcasts we're going to take to kind of explain, right? So I was like, can I just put this together in a book and like just...
This came out pretty quickly.
It did. Because it's divine design only, right? I think it's time this information comes out. So this is really what, this is like the first draft. It's not how the book is going to look, but it's so beautiful. It's just me attempting to kind of put some structure to this entire thing, the body, mind, emotions and soul. And you helped me with the structure because I just had thoughts all over the place and I was like, what do I do? And then you came and helped me put that, but this is what it looks like and it's so beautiful. So yeah, the program that we're running also is there entirely explained. But anyway, for this, I actually listed down the symptoms of what really happens when someone's mind doesn't really function well, and it can be anything, right? Because if your mind is not functioning optimally, your body can start showing symptoms.
It's your software which is corrupt.
Yeah, I call it psychosomatic dissonance.
Yeah.
I think you helped me come up with that word, no? You're like,
I'm not very good with the word. Mutton?
Mutton, MTN is going to be imprinted in my head. Anyway, so I call that like psychosomatic dissonance, where your mind is not really doing what it's supposed to do. Like the operating system was designed for something else, but you're running something else, right? So it could be diseases, physical diseases, it could be mental health issues, it could be, behavior patterns that are not making sense, right? Irrational behavior, out of context behavior, like the amount of anger is disproportionate to the situation, or the amount of sadness is disproportionate to the situation.
Even numbing of your emotions.
Numbing, addictions, or even like, choosing company, like people who might actually pull you down, because you kind of go into a self-destructive pattern, honestly, when your mind starts becoming more and more dysfunctional. And when I say dysfunctional, it's basically a mind that's going out of alignment with your soul's purpose, right? Because the entire design of that operating system is to serve your soul, to like do what your soul was designed for. Let me see if there's anything else. But according to you, Avinash, while I'm looking for symptoms of dysfunction, what do you think are the symptoms of a well-functioning mind?
Well-functioning mind will always have, some purpose, some goal, and that body is driving towards that goal. The soul is feeling happy most of the time. It is feeling content and
so that
fulfilled.
Scale that we have, I don't know if it's visible in the camera, but we have the scale in office, right? Where are you at in terms of your emotions?
Yeah, you're always at your peak productivity energetically.
Yeah.
You may not be producing all the time, but even if you are resting, even if you're not doing anything, you're not feeling that FOMO or missing out on something, or you're not doing enough, or you're not good enough. So you're always comfortable with whatever state you're in, whether you're doing something, whether you're not doing anything, whether you're talking, not talking, listening, sleeping, whatever you're doing, you're always at peace with your surrounding, with the way.
I think that sense of peace is what a real well-functioning mind is capable of doing. And also, I think it has the ability to acquire the skills that are required for your function. Like if your mind is functioning well, it will learn and grow in the direction that your soul wants it to grow.
Exactly.
It will know what skills to keep. It will know what knowledge to seek. It will know how to acquire that knowledge. Like I learn through podcasts, I learn through books. You learn through experiences. So your mind will know how to seek out the kind of experiences that you need to get the knowledge you need to serve your soul's purpose. So one is that sense of peace, that calm, and that, you're like, you're just optimally running energy efficient way without wasting too much energy, which is what you love doing.
Entropy. We don't want to increase too much entropy of this.
But it also, I think, is a mind that is capable of immense growth.
Yes.
If it's a mind that's well
capable
functioning.
of doing magic. Capable of
magic if that's your design to do magic, right? But I think a well-functioning mind is a mind that learns and grows, and it really allows elevation of your existence. It elevates your experience, right, as a human being, versus a mind that is dysfunctional, because that kind of a mind will devolve your existence. It breaks you down, it shrinks, right? And I found the symptoms I've listed, right? So illnesses and diseases, fatigue, loss of physical aesthetics. We both saw that with our own body, right? Like my mind was doing well in terms of society's conditions, but I was 97 kgs and looking...
I was 120.
And we weren't really happy with what we were seeing in the mirror. So loss of physical aesthetics, sleeplessness, aches and pains, digestive issues, cognitive decline, loss of executive function, which basically means your loss of decision-making ability. So that's something I've noticed about myself, right? Even if I'm going through immense emotional ups and downs regarding Loka and whatever is happening there, and like I've not met her and everything, my executive function, which is like my mind's ability to work as the CEO of this company and take the right decision, like not a single work day or work life has been impacted because of an emotional downturn in another aspect of my life. And I think that is what a well-functioning mind is also all about, right? Like,
anyway, your mind has many tracks, unlike most of us, like who have single track and they have to keep doing everything.
Yeah, my mind also is designed well. What else? Irritability, uncontrolled anger, mood swings, brain fog, loss of libido.
We're going to have a separate episode.
I think we're going to have like 15 episodes on sexuality and libido, but dissociation from the body, where you don't feel connected with your body at all, poor immunity. So I just listed down symptoms while I was doing this book, but I think all of these are signs.
We need to talk more about this in our, subsequent episodes.
We will. I mean, look at it. I mean, Adish has done such a great job of designing it. It's such a beautiful book.
Yes.
But anyway, we will make it available to...
So mind is never-ending topic. So should we continue talking?
Yeah, no, I think we should stop, because I think there's so much to go into, right? Like what even causes the mind to go broken? What breaks the frameworks? And it's a never-ending topic. So whenever we come back to discussing the mind, we will actually go into why does the mind become dysfunctional? What are the root causes of that? What are the broken frameworks people carry? And we'll take it from there. Yeah? Any last thoughts to this episode before we end it?
Just be mindful. I don't know what does it mean.
MTM.
Just be mindful. Be aware of whatever you are reading, doing,
Yeah.
not doing.
Be aware, be a little
Be
mindful
conscious,
about
yeah.
the stuff that you're consuming, including media, and we'll talk about that also in a separate podcast. And the next time we come live and we do our podcast, we'll be talking about emotions, because that's the third category through which we, like the human experience actually is felt. And emotions is something I can talk for the rest of my life, I think.
Yeah, I will learn from you during that podcast.
You ask me the questions and I'll just...
I'm going to ask you questions.
Cool. So thank you so much.
Thank
and
you so much.
Lovely feedback we've been getting so far for this work, and it makes me really happy because this is something that just sprung forth and it feels like we have to do this.
It
So,
comes naturally. Like I don't have to, we don't even prepare.
no
right? It just
planning,
comes.
nothing. We just speak. Sugar is remind me to talk about sugar when we come to the body. Very, very interesting information I found out about how we are programmed for sweet taste, not just in our tongue, but like there are many neurons in the body.
Okay.
But we will
zero
talk.
idea.
Yeah,
We
we'll
don't,
talk
I
about
don't.
this.
Thank you guys.